All right, folks, we're going to talk about some serious nostalgia and, well, a very important firearm to me that I definitely have a lot of experience and history with. And that particular pistol is a Ruger Mark II. Not the Mark III because we don't talk about those. But yeah, a really old, well, kind of really old, depending on your definition of old, Ruger Mark II, bull barrel, stainless, target model. Um, kind of an older pistol. So I have a lot of history with the Ruger Mark II series of pistols because it's the pistols that I learned to shoot on when I was growing up, when I was very, very young. My dad had a Ruger Mark II as well, although his was the blued black model with the wooden grips. This particular gun, this one here, is of course the stainless model, as you can see. But this one was owned by a family friend that unfortunately passed away quite a number of years ago, and this was his personal pistol. So I don't have necessarily the exact pistol that I grew up shooting, but I did end up shooting this one quite a bit when I was growing up as well. Just not as much as my dad's Mark II, for obvious reasons, because it was in the house. But this kind of series and line of pistols just... gosh, I don't even know how many years of experience I have shooting these things, and they are absolutely phenomenal, and kind of spoiled me on what a good 22 target pistol really should be. When you've grown up with something like this. So this is also my kind of favorite style of the Mark series of pistols, is this big old heavy bull barrel like this, and this length. Although I would prefer to have a threaded barrel, that wasn't really an option back in the day. So they came like this. So as best as you can get at the time. I have a Mark IV now, which I'll be doing a review on later. But yeah, I really wanted to bring the Mark II out because this is just very near and dear to my heart. For a lot of reasons. So let's talk about some of the features on this, which may not be present on newer guns. So the big thing I like about this is, one, the big heavy bull barrel. So if you look down the muzzle there, this has already been cleared and everything. That is a big honking chunk of steel. And the reason why that's good is for, well, a lot of reasons. Heat, accuracy, quality, durability, all that stuff. Durability especially, because when I was younger, we had a unfortunate incident of a squib load of a bullet that got stuck into the barrel. And I was too young at the point to really understand what happened, because it was just a light puff. It was just poof. Not a whole lot of recoil, didn't cycle. I was like, well, okay, just a jam, whatever. So I cycled it, loaded another one in, fired, and then that caused a lot of just stuff flying back in my face. I was like, ugh, okay. So I knew something was wrong there. So my dad saw what happened, and he's like, whoa, like put that down. It happened to this particular pistol, not my dad's Mark II, but this particular pistol. And so, we cleared it out, opened it up and everything, and got a light down into the chamber here to shoot up into the barrel. And of course, it was all clear, and we looked down the barrel there, and we had seen that there was no light coming through at all, which means there's a bullet stuck in there. So we assumed it was just one squib load. So took it home, and we put it up in a vise, and took a wooden dowel, basically in the chamber there, or the barrel, and just basically hammer, trying to get that thing out. And it took us pretty much all afternoon to get those squib loads out. Well, we discovered, it was actually two bullets, because like I said, remember, the first one I shot was the first squib, and I thought it was clear. I thought there was no problem. So the second one was lodged directly behind it. So when we finally hammered the crap out of this thing, two bullets fell out of the chamber here. So that, and I thought, well, that must have ruined the rifling or something, or whatever, because we were really hammering on this thing hard. And from what I can tell, even now, from all these years ago to now, there's been no adverse effects to this pistol at all. And I think a large part in that is due to the fact that the barrel is freaking huge and thick. So if you have like a Ruger Standard, which has a little itty bitty tapered barrel, it's all thin and everything, or the modern production pistols, which basically have a pencil barrel, for like the Mark IVs and stuff, the fancy Mark IVs that have the nice aluminum housing and everything with the itty bitty pencil barrels. I think if you had a squib and you fired another one into it, I think you'd probably have different results and probably not so good results. But this is a huge honking piece of steel, so there's no blowing this up with 22 LR pressures and a blowback pistol, right? So that is an awesome feature, and another reason why I like bull barrels on target pistols like this. The weight is also really nice. This thing weighs an absolute ton, but it's good because when you're firing this, it has like zero recoil. Not that 22 really had a whole lot of recoil to begin with, but when you fire something smaller and plastic and weighs a lot less than this, boat anchor, you definitely notice it. So, yeah, so the barrel, awesome. Now the target sights on here, of course, are adjustable target sights. Mostly you're going to be doing it in the rear, but the front sight blade has a different style to it now. Because if you look at that kind of the profile there of how it's shaped, especially on the top blade there, it's a little bit different now on the modern designs. This front sight blade is actually pretty darn sharp. I've cut myself on this a few times. It's gotten stuck on clothing. It's got stuck on bags and things like that when I'm trying to pull it in and out of stuff. It's very sharp. So on the newer pistols, which I have my Mark IV here, let me get it out here real quick. So on the Mark IV, you can see the front sight there is rounded off. It's not the same same style of blade anymore. So they definitely changed that. But yeah, I was kind of spoiled by the sight system because I kind of assumed all pistols had adjustable sights like this. And so I was really disappointed when I started getting more into pistols and I started realizing that most do not have adjustable sights like this. And I sorely wish they did, because that's just my personal preference. Other than that, so triggers on these are also very, very good. At least all the Mark IIs that I've handled have had exceptional triggers. And I don't know if that's just because of the untold thousands of rounds that we've put through these guns, or if they're just naturally good. I think they're just naturally good. Great triggers. It's kind of the frame and the shape and everything is kind of reminiscent of like the Nambu pistols or Luger pistols, even like a hybrid of that. But these definitely have excellent triggers. But they do feel a little different from the Mark IV triggers. Mark IV triggers definitely are way different from the Mark IIs internally, and how they're shaped and how all the surfaces interact with each other. Completely different. So I greatly prefer the Mark II trigger pulls to the Mark IVs. Also, there is no silly magazine disconnect with these Mark IVs. The Mark IIIs have that silly magazine disconnect, which no gun should have that ever. People can argue with that, in my opinion, but I am objectively correct on that opinion. Also, so if you can see right here, the magazine release is a heel style magazine release. So when you're loading these up, it catches right there on this little button thing. So you pull back on that and the magazine will come right out. So a feature I don't think they really carried over, and I don't think it was very popular for a lot of people. The American style of pistol shooting always prefers their button mag releases, which I think personally in a lot of cases is not superior to different designs, like say a paddle magazine release, but that's just me. The heel magazine release is interesting because you normally see that on like older European pistol designs, not necessarily an American pistol. So it's interesting that they decided to go with a heel magazine release. But to me, it's completely natural to get the magazines in, get them out, cycle, go to town, do your thing. It's natural to me, of course, because I've had, like I said, years and years of shooting these guns. So to me, it's just, completely fine. I've seen a lot of people struggle with that because they're fumbling all over the gun. Like, where's the magazine release? I don't know how the heck to work this gun, because they're expecting a button release, a more traditional style. So to me, it's not a big deal, but I know a lot of people really don't like that and have trouble working with it. So interesting feature for the Mark IIs. I'm unsure if the Mark IIIs also have that. Like I said, I don't touch Mark IIIs. I don't get anywhere near them. I want nothing to do with them. So let's see, your safety button is this piece right here. It's on safe right now, down for fire, up for safe. That is also something that was changed to the Mark IV, because now the Mark IV has the ambidextrous levers here, as you can see right there. That's supposed to, I guess, more mimic a 1911 style safety, or just, I don't know, a different style safety altogether, but I don't really have a preference to which one I like more. And of course, here, slide lock release lever right here. It's a little small, but for me, it always seemed to plant just perfectly for my thumb, and it never got in the way. It was never, an issue for me to work with at all. So overall, I really, really find the Mark IIs to be just exceptionally ergonomic. I love how these things feel. They feel great. It's got all the weight and heft that I like. The heel magazine release is just fine for me. I have no problem with it at all whatsoever. Totally used to it. And of course, the way you charge these things is the pull tabs here on the back of the bolt. So it doesn't feature a traditional slide system. So pulling it back like that is very, very easy, and I think kind of more intuitive than a traditional pistol slide where you got to put your whole hand on top and kind of pull it back with your serrations here on the back. This you just grab the whole thing and just pull it back. Boom, easy. So yeah. Now, as far as accuracy goes, these things are phenomenally accurate. They are insane. I've gotten the same level of accuracy out of my Mark IV, which is to say, getting 1 inch at 25 yards, completely feasible with this gun, this setup with some good ammo and a lot of patience, good skill, training, practice. You can absolutely get 1 inch at 25 yards with these pistols. Do I get it every day and every single time that I go out and shoot this? No. But the accuracy is still exceptional. I absolutely love how accurate these things are. It's a freaking laser gun. These things are just exceptionally easy to shoot for anyone that I've given these to. Like I said, no recoil, great trigger, great ergonomics, great sight. All those things put together makes for a very, very easy shooting and accurate platform. And so that's really what lends this thing to being a good trainer pistol as well. I've trained so many people how to shoot pistols with a good Ruger Mark II pistol, just like this one. I can't even count how many people I've trained to shoot pistols well by introducing them to a Mark II. But now, of course, these days I introduce the Mark IV because these are much better for a lot of reasons, and which I will get into. So the main criticism I have for the Mark II and the Mark III series is the method of takedown for this gun is an absolute freaking nightmare. And if you've ever owned one of these pistols, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And I think it was a big reason why these things were not as popular as they could have been because of the takedown and maintenance that you have to do. And it's also the reason why the Mark IVs are so popular, and it's definitely the reason why it got me. So if you look at the back here on the back strap, you'll see these weird kind of levers, toggles, things, whatever this is, this cutout here in the back. This is a big hunk of metal lever thing that fits with a little pin system that works right there. So that's the pivot joint here for the metal here. There is a little hanging pin that hangs and kind of swivels a little bit, and there's a notch. I'm not going to take it apart because it's a whole pain in the ass to get it back together. But this piece here in the back swings out the back of the gun, and there is a notch, a little divot that's kind of milled into it that you have to line up and hold the pistol up, basically like this, and you have to find that little pin that's hanging in there, get the metal lever in there at just the right angle, just the right way to seal that in and latch it down to where all those little pieces all fit together, and then you can cycle the bolt correctly. That is an absolute freaking nightmare. I hate doing it. It's the big reason why I don't shoot this pistol as often anymore, because the Mark IVs solved all of that. It's awesome. So I have spent many afternoons as a kid working with my dad after we shoot our guns, because that was the rule. Any day that you went to go shoot the guns, you spent all afternoon, all evening cleaning them when you're done. So there's a lot of scratches and little marks on here as we're trying to get like our screwdrivers and other tools and things to pry that thing up and get it back into place, and to fiddle with the little link pin and stuff in there, and to get the bolt in just right. I've spent so much time on this thing fiddling with it and getting it back together properly. It is absolute pain, and that is my biggest gripe when it comes to Mark II pistols. Sorry. But other than that, everything is fantastic about these. Like I said, even with all my sentimental value and history and things, nostalgia with these pistols, they are just excellent guns. Can't recommend them enough. Like really, I can't. So yeah, I just wanted to bring this to you guys and kind of show it off a little bit here, because like I said, I've had this one for many years. It felt a lot bigger in my hands when I was younger, but now fits me perfectly. So it's nice to have a childhood memory memento that you can carry with you and just keep, and someday when I have kids, I'm gonna pass this one down to them too. Although they're probably going to prefer the Mark IV a little bit better, just for ease of maintenance, and it looks cool, and I have a red dot on it, and all the fancy trimmings, and I'll get my suppressor and put it on the Mark IV. But I'm not ever going to modify this pistol in any way. I'm not going to get the barrel threaded. I'm not going to put a pick rail or whatever weaver scope on it. I'm not going to mess with it. I'm going to leave it bone stock, because it doesn't need any extra upgrades, frankly. And with the history of this being a family friend who has passed away, it was his gun. I kind of want to keep it stock as well, to kind of keep his memory intact in a way, right? Because he was very close to me as well growing up. So still miss him to this day. He was a very wise man, and I'm certainly appreciating his wisdom more the older I get. So this is another memento to him. So anyway, Ruger Mark II pistols, freaking fantastic. They really knocked it out of the park with these. But like I said, we don't talk about the Mark IIIs because those things are an abomination and they should not exist. I don't like those at all for numerous reasons. Mark IIs are where it's at. Should have stayed that way, of course, but the Mark IVs are also fantastic, mostly due to the takedown system. So anyway, that's enough I got to say about the Ruger Mark IIs. If you guys ever come across one that's like this, the bull barrel target versions, I mean, really any of the Mark II variations that you come across are going to be excellent pistols. I've never seen anybody who was disappointed with these. I've never seen anyone who didn't like them, aside from the takedown, of course. This will light up a lot of people's eyes. Older guys too, for sure. You talk about a Ruger Mark II, they're gonna know what you're talking about. So, classic, old school, good Ruger product. So, that's all I got to say about that. And stay tuned, because I am going to review the Mark IV here very soon, because it is very closely related to my Mark II experience. Mark IV is awesome. But anyway, we'll talk all about the Mark IV in that video. So we'll see you next time.